Daredevil Born Again is actually really good. This is something that I was not anticipating, as I thought this show would likely just be okay and come nowhere near to be as good as the Netflix show, because the Netflix show, in my opinion, is one of the best shows ever made, and the first and third seasons are, in my humble opinion, pretty close to perfect for me. But despite that, I can safely say the show is still pretty good, and it stays pretty close to the character of Daredevil and does not sacrifice the tone for its wide audience on Disney+. And what I basically mean by that is the show would just be filled with a lot of quipping and jokes, and it would feel just a lot more comical and far less serious than it's intended to be. And that is not the case at all. I mean, sure, there's like a few quips here and there that feel a little like they don't really belong, but they don't take away from the overall show at all. Alright, so I'm going to talk now about some spoilers to talk more deeply about this show, as I'm not going to try and like tiptoe around any of this stuff because like what's the point? It wouldn't really make any sense for me to not talk about spoilers when there's things in this show that I wasn't really a fan of that entail spoilers. So I will give a little warning here for those of you that have not already seen the show. I assume that most people have probably already seen this show, so I'll give a little warning. 3, 2, 1, Foggy dies. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this in this show. I think that it worked in the way that I thought that it was a very ballsy move to kill one of the main characters that early on. And the show needed to start like off in a bang to really grab your attention, and it definitely did that for me. However, I still am kind of iffy on if I like that Foggy is not a central part of the show anymore, as I really would have liked to see his presence in this show and see what he would have thought about the current developments of Hell's Kitchen going on in this show, but obviously, that cannot happen anymore. Karen is also not a central part of the show, as she is only in the first episode and the last episode. And she is, for the most part, replaced by Heather, who I just didn't really like that much as a character. I liked her at the beginning, as I thought that she and Matt had a very kind of cute relationship. But as the show went on, I really started to dislike her, especially once Daredevil saved her, and then she was kind of just like, you know what? Vigilantes are kind of stupid. Let's actually like get rid of them. And then she just sides with Kingpin, which I didn't get at all, because like Daredevil literally saved you from Muse. You were tied up. You had knife wounds. He was literally part of the reason that you're still alive. Yes, you killed him, but he literally did everything else. So after that point, I just didn't really like her character that much, as I just didn't really know like what she really stood for, what she really believed in. Because on one hand, I thought, okay, she seems to sort of like understand Daredevil, and after being saved by him, I thought, okay, maybe she's sort of turning the tide a little bit, because she has sort of expressed that she wasn't a huge fan of masks, but then after that she just does this huge like shift, and I'm like, okay, I didn't really see that coming, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Fisk was great in this show, but that's not really a surprise because Vincent D'Onofrio is amazing. And I really liked the idea of him becoming mayor, and at first I wasn't really sure if this was a ploy to make it seem as though he was trying to, become like a good guy, or him becoming mayor was more or less just an act. And by the final episode, I think it's safe to say that this was definitely just an act for him to continue his criminal pursuits. The one thing with this show I thought was just kind of baffling was that Spider-Man is just not allowed to be shown. I get, like, legally why, but logistically, it legitimately makes no sense. Because Spider-Man, I don't know if Marvel knows this, is in New York City. He lives there. Kingpin has now taken control of the NYPD has them essentially acting as his personal guard and has taken control of Hell's Kitchen. I feel like Spider-Man would probably help, but Sony is sort of taking him hostage. So he can't do anything because he can't do anything in a show. He can if it's a movie, but because this is a show, he has to, I guess, just take a nap the whole time. And what was weird was that in the last episode when Matt says, oh, I have to assemble a team, instead of, you know, bringing in the Defenders, which is what I thought he meant and would make sense seeing as they actually have powers and can fight Fisk. He just brings in a bunch of random people from the prior episodes that had helped him or that had just been featured in the prior episodes. Like Josie, that one lady from the episode where Matt was hostage in the bank. Just like a bunch of like random people that it's like, why were the Defenders not called? I'm also kind of iffy on them just killing Muse off right away, as I felt like it would have been kind of cool to put him in prison, like put him in Rikers, and then have the benefit of later on have him perhaps breaking out of prison and wreaking more havoc. But I guess that they were filling that void with reintroducing Bullseye at the end of the season. Now, something else I really liked about this show was Punisher. He was only in it for 2 episodes, but each moment he was on screen was incredible. And Jon Bernthal is easily the best portrayal of Punisher that there's ever been. And I cannot wait to see more of him playing this character. Charlie Cox is also great in this show. He's always been great as his character, and I sort of view him as quintessential Daredevil on screen. And overall, I definitely really enjoyed this show, and I can't wait for season 2, but I definitely hope that they will incorporate more characters from the New York area, like Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and obviously Punisher, to help make the world of the show feel much less small.